Spatiotemporal analysis of precipitation distribution influences on water levels in the Lost River Jennings Creek watershed in Bowling Green, Kentucky. This project will utilize a high-resolution data monitoring network to analyze the spatial relationships between precipitation and critical karst flooding for data modeling and planning during emergency conditions. This is important because the entire city of Bowling Green is located on an expansive low-relief sinkhole plain, which is characterized on the surface by rolling hills. These sinkholes, which act as giant funnels that transport water into underground systems, often fill up and overflow when the cave below floods. For many years, the city has had problems with stormwater quality and quantity during these storm events. The study area of this project is Bowling Green, Kentucky, with a focus on the Lost River Jennings Creek watershed, which is nearly 200 square kilometers. In gray is a map of Kentucky, and in white is Warren County. The red arrow points to Bowling Green, which is where the Lost River Jennings Creek watershed is located. And left, outlined in red, is the extent of the Lost River Jennings Creek watershed. And to the right is a map of Lost River Cave. The data for this project were collected at 1-minute intervals, both by weather stations and water level loggers, which were placed in springs and surface streams across the watershed. The 1-minute intervals allow the data to be of a higher resolution, which is important in creating a predictive model. The different sites in the watershed were also essential in data comparison and were placed in a way that allows the water to be tracked through the karst aquifer. If you look to your left, you can see some of our weather stations and our water level loggers. During the recent storm event on February 28th, Bowling Green received a lot of rainfall in a very short amount of time, and nearly 1.5 billion gallons was discharged through the Lost River Cave system. In a moment, we'll look at the data and see how variation in precipitation depth and intensity across the watershed, along with pileups of water and delayed flood impulses that were also seen during the February 8th flood event. So this precipitation graph here, on this graph, it's very clear that the rainfall in this area was not uniform at all. You can see there was a lot more rainfall over here at Lost River Rise than there was at Jennings Creek. These precipitation graphs up here, they also show depth and intensity at the different sites, A and B. And B, you can see it's color coordinated. The dark red indicates the highest intensity, while the dark blue indicates the lowest intensity. These red dashes indicate no rainfall, or in this case, a break in the rainfall, which is consistent with most of these sites here in A as well. And that break is also seen in the hydronet gauging stations. A very quick and substantial increase in water level can also be seen in Lost River's blue hole, which indicates a pileup of water before draining into the Lost River Rise. Secondary peaks of water can also be seen at Jennings Creek and Lost River Rise, suggesting that water drained from the surrounding areas and accumulated, leading to an additional flood post even after the rain had already stopped. So if you look down here, this blue outline is the flood extent inside of the Lost River Valley during the February 28th rain event. And if you want to get an idea of what that looks like, here's a 3D model of the Lost River Valley. And that blue is the flood extent. So there was quite a bit of flooding on February 28th. And here are some real pictures that show the extent of the flooding. You can see here the entrance to Lost River Cave is right here. This water is higher than it normally is. And you can see as it rises, it's coming up on the sidewalk, it's coming a little higher, even higher, and then it gets to where you can't even see the cave. The flooding is so much that it is over the entrance of the cave. So in conclusion, this project will attempt to create a predictive model of flood rates in order to be able to better understand the precipitation flooding and water movement through the aquifer and on the surface.